Remember the baptistry?
Oh, the one where you did your heaviest deadlift of your life, pulling me back up?
Buried in baptism, raised to walking.
I was thinking of the one where you came up and shook your head like a dog coming out of the water.
The wet dog surprise?
Yeah.
The newness of life.
Yeah, it was amazing. I've got Mike Foster here with us today, and we wanted to really hear your story and through that story, share some best practices for our life groups. So how in the world did you end up coming to Whitesburg?
My wife and I left Los Angeles in June. We like to say that we're political refugees. So we came here to Alabama, and everyone in California before we left said, watch, you're going to go to Alabama and you're going to have to watch college football every Saturday, and you're going to have to join a church. And my wife and I were talking about raising our daughter here in the church. I didn't know where to start. I mean, I was raised Catholic, so I thought, well, maybe we should go to a Catholic church. And then maybe we should go to a Lutheran church. We didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
And our next door neighbors, the Johnsons, Christopher and Stephanie, Christopher approached me one day after we'd talked a few times, and he's like, you know, you ought to come over and check out the church.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, we'll go. Where I'm from in Michigan, there were a lot of folks that migrated there from Tennessee to work at Ford and places like that. So there were a lot of Southern Baptists where I was from. Just never stepped foot in a church before.
Okay, so you get here and you're in this large church, this large room. How do you get connected?
And it was our first service. I remember I kept looking at my wife and she was looking at me, and we were both like, right? Right? You know, Pastor Daryl, when he gets going, I was like, this is fantastic. And I walked out of here thinking like, I learned a lot. And I felt a connection. And so then we came back again and again. So that's when Christopher said to me, you know, you ought to consider coming to our Wednesday men's group. What's that? You know, I have no clue what's going on here. All I knew is how to say Hail Marys, Our Fathers, and the sign of the cross. That's all I knew with religion. That was it. And then that's where I met Gordon Rose.
So you plugged into Gordon and Jane's life group class on Sunday?
Negative.
Why?
I plugged into Gordon's Wednesday night men's group.
Okay.
So a very close friend of mine, Dan Wilkerson, says to me, he says, hey, I've been thinking about this for a while and I've been praying on it. And I think you should maybe, if you get a chance, come to our Sunday life group with Gordon and Jane. And of course, already knowing Gordon, I was like, great, I'd love to, let's go. So my wife and I went, and ever since then, we haven't missed a class.
Man, that is fantastic. And your class, what would you say, 20 people?
Oh, it's growing. We're like, I think last week it was like 30.
Yeah. Well, and one of the big reasons why, and you correct me if I'm wrong though, Gordon and Jane pour their lives into a life group. They love you guys, and that comes across, and I think that's one of the reasons for the growth.
When I think about what you just said, because it's so true, and my wife and I moving here from California, literally not knowing anyone. Not knowing anyone. And now we're part of a family.
Yeah.
And it's you know, I look at Gordon and Jane as they're like parents. You know, they're my Alabama parents.
Yeah.
And it means so much to us because, you know, my mother would always say, you know, when she'd visit us in California, there's really no connection here with people. You don't see any kids running around. And she was right. You feel very isolated there. It's what we always say about Los Angeles is it's as big of a city as it is, you feel very alone.
Well, and that's our culture right now. Digitally, we're connected better than we ever have been, but relationally, studies say that we are the least connected that we've ever been. Well, Mike, I love you, brother, and I'm glad you're here at Whitesburg.
Well, love you too, David, and thanks for being my Baptist.
You got it, man.
Sorry. You're good.
Be intentional with your circle of influence, especially your neighbors. When guests come to your group, be committed to getting to know them and doing life together.